Check 1 2. Can I ask you all to please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's town board meeting. Today is March 10th, 2020. Before we start, I just want to give you a very quick overview of where we are with this virus and what the town is doing. I'm sure you noticed on our website we have been keeping up to date on all the recommendations. We're not a health agency, so we take the information from the County of Westchester Board of Health and we share that with the public. We had a meeting last week with Northern Westchester Hospital and the Westchester County Board of Health, and they gave us a briefing on what to do, what to not to do. As far as town hall here, we completely deodorized the entire building. There's a system they use for misting the walls, furniture, seating, everything has been done. We're also doing the community center up in Valhalla and the community center on Bathurst Avenue. We will continue to do this for a couple more weeks on a weekly basis because we have a lot of traffic here, a lot of people coming in and going. So as a preventative measure, we'll be doing this for a few weeks. Our most vulnerable is our seniors, and we have canceled most of the senior programs for the week, and we're going to see what we're going to do for next week. As it stands right now, we don't have anybody that's come down with anything, but we're just taking these preventive measures to keep as many of us safe as possible. As always, if anybody has any questions regarding this, there is all that information on the website that Amanda has put out there, and she updates it with anything new that comes in. So, moving on, if you have any questions, you can also call us. We'll try to answer your questions, but Westchester County Board of Health is probably the best avenue for those answers. On the supervisor's report, the first item we have is call for a public hearing to annex 14 Sunset Drive into the town of Mount Pleasant Sewer District. We have Mr. Ronald Kirkland on 14 Sunset Drive wishes to connect into the sewer district. We have to have a public hearing in order to do that. So, we have what date can we use?
For March 24th?
March 24th will be the public hearing on this. And I need a resolution to approve that.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Smalley,
Second.
second by Mr. Schulman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, as you will recall, we had public hearings on the parking in Hawthorne, next to the Hawthorne Public School. We need to have a public hearing on that topic again because some clarification due to input from the residents in the area. We have to do the public hearing again to do some clarification. This authorization is being requested to clarify the town ordinance amendment that was passed on February 25th, 2020. To clarify, the original request from Traffic and Safety and the Police Department was made to make both sides of Memorial Drive to Brighton Avenue no parking. However, the public input and PD and town board review, the decision was made to only make south side no parking. Since this was an amendment, this means that the current restriction of no parking on the north side of Broad Street from Memorial Drive west for 110 feet will remain in effect. This part of the ordinance was originally put into place to ensure there's an unobstructed view of the crosswalk. So we say to a public hearing again for March,
Well, we'll do March 24th.
March 24th again. And that way we can clarify the amendments to that. Need a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Saliano,
Second.
Second by Ms. Smalley. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next two items here are refer to Blythedale Children's Hospital, so for some renovations they're making to their buildings. This is a purchase order number 1622007. This is for oval offices within the building. So it's not like an expansion of the building, it's renovating the interior part of the building. The total project cost for this particular renovation is $5,227,106. The building permit fees, which pertain to both parts of that I'm going to be talking about, is $78,510. The review for this part of it is $5,300. So this resolution will approve that purchase order.
Move for approval?
Motion by Mr. Shulman,
I'll second that, Mr. Supervisor.
second by Mr. Saliano. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Second part of Blythedale Children's Hospital is the traumatic brain injury unit. Again, this is part of the building permit fee for both projects. It's still $78,510. This particular project is $5,227,106. Total cost for the review is $4,800.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Ms. Smalley,
Second?
second by Mr. Shulman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization to submit a home rule request for hotel motel tax legislation. The Assembly and Senate have introduced bills for this legislation pending town board approval. Home rule requests will be submitted for the Assembly and Senate to propose these bills to the governor. Assembly bill number is A9959. Senate bill is S7741. As you may recall, we have tried this numerous times. We're hoping this time it gets through to the governor's desk and he signs it. This resolution will approve the home rule request to the legislation.
Motion for approval? Move for approval?
Motion by Mr. Shulman,
I'll second the motion.
second by Mr. Saliano. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization to enter an agreement with Con Edison to supply water to Eastview Service Center for fire protection. You may or may not know, Con Edison has a major facility over near Home Depot off of Route 9A. They have inadequate water supply there for fire protection, and this will allow them to enter an agreement with the town of Mount Pleasant. This agreement is required by the Westchester County Health Department for the proposed backflow protection devices and the connection into the Kensico Water District.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Ms. Smalley,
Second?
second by Mr. Shulman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization for 2 planning and zoning employees to attend the Managing Multiple Priorities Projects and Deadline Seminar. This was on March 2nd, but we didn't have this didn't come up until recently. We discussed it at a work session, so this is retroactively approving that. The total cost was $298.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Ms. Smalley,
Second?
second by Mr. Shulman. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. And I have the receiver of taxes report. At this point, it's business from the floor. Anyone who wishes to address the board is welcome to do so at this time. And if you have not already done so, please sign up.
You can come up front, sir.
This is so that people around the world can hear what you're saying.
Mr. Fulgenzi, members of the town board, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Robin Stewart. I live in Highclere Lane here in Valhalla, and on this matter I speak for the Highclere Lane Homeowners Association. As winter gives way to the clear, crisp days of spring, the residents of Mount Pleasant are again being assaulted by a cacophony of excessive and unconstrained gasoline-powered leaf blower noise. The problem has existed for a number of years, but appears to be worsening. The din will continue unabated at random times until late November. The problem posed by gas-powered leaf blower noise has been recognised by a number of Westchester jurisdictions and many others around the country in general. In Westchester County, some form of ban on their use is already in place in Ardsley, Dobbs Ferry, Hastings, Irvington, Larchmont, Mamaroneck, New Rochelle, Pelham, Rye, Scarsdale, Sleepy Hollow, Tarrytown, Tuckahoe, White Plains and Yonkers. The exact conditions of the restrictions vary somewhat from place to place, but generally speaking they at least involve a total ban on the operation of gasoline-powered leaf blowers from May or June through September. Most restrictions have existed for many years, with those of Pelham having been adopted as early as 1994. The justification for the restrictions is based both on noise and air quality. While leaf blowers have a useful contribution to make during the spring and fall cleanups, the benefit they provide during the summer months is very limited. However, the negative impact that they have on the quality of life due to noise and air pollution is significant. During the summer, their function can easily and often more efficiently be accomplished using yard brooms or rakes. Chapter 139 of Mount Pleasant's Ordinance on Noise states that for residential districts during the hours of 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., noise levels within any residential zone district shall not exceed 65 decibels or an L10 in excess of 60 decibels. This means that the measured noise level should never exceed 65 decibels and can only exceed 60 decibels less than 10% of the time. In 2019, I purchased a sound meter for a few dollars from Amazon.com and measured the typical sounds of gas-powered leaf blowers being used by landscapers in the local area. The noise ordinance was violated in all cases. In one, I observed a surreal situation in which two backpack and one-wheeled leaf blower were being used to chase a handful of leaves around and around and around a small yard, all the while emitting a combined 85 decibels of noise. This is 100 times the power level permitted by the town's noise ordinance. Moreover, the task could have been more efficiently and quietly performed with simple garden rakes. The police department is charged with enforcing the noise ordinance, so in principle a call to them might have been justified. I suspect, however, that Police Chief Oliva has better things for his department to be doing than sending a patrol car out equipped with a sound meter whenever the landscapers arrive. Clearly there is a need for a simpler and more clear-cut regulation here. Ironically, many of the landscaping firms concerned are operating in Mount Pleasant in a manner that would be banned within the jurisdiction in which they are based. In fairness, it should be pointed out that it's not only landscapers who are at fault here. There are also a few local residents who are apparently enamored by the sensation of a large and loud two-stroke engine strapped to their backs. Recently, Ms. Susan Angst organised a petition calling for the phase-out of gas-powered leaf blowers within the town of Mount Pleasant. The petition currently has garnered 145 signatures. This and the comments provided by some of the signers makes it clear that a significant number of residents are disturbed by the current situation. Our enjoyment of the outdoors during the summer months, in our yards, on our patios and lawns, should not be subject to the whim and convenience of landscaping firms and others. I therefore urge the town board to take clear steps to limit this serious nuisance by instituting restrictions on the use of leaf blowers that will restore the quality of life for Mount Pleasant residents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Anyone else wish to address the board?
Good evening. Michael Noel, 540 Bedford Road in Pecanigo Hills. So, hear about the cell tower. Okay. So, I was notified on February the 23rd for a meeting on this cell tower on February the 24th, the following day. I did not quite have a day, but let's call it a day. I had a day to prepare myself for that meeting.
Can I just clarify something
Yes.
before you go any further? It was not a public hearing on the cell tower. It was an informational meeting to give the board information and whoever was here to gather information. It was not a meeting where
Yes.
the town
Okay.
board was deciding on anything. It was to give information. There will be other public hearings on this topic in the future.
I
Just so you
understand.
know, we're not trying to,
Well, I understand.
say
I also
anything.
understand. I did a lot of research on this now. Since then, the research I wish I had at that time. So, this whole process here, there's no codes that apply. There's no approvals by any other board that needs to be had. It's the town board has sole approval for this, and
Yes.
these things get fast tracked through. And I believe that this is moving rather quickly.
the last one that we did took 3 years.
Okay. So.
I don't know about fast tracking for that.
It seems like a fast track, but in any case, this line from Homeland Towers, okay, like I said, I had one day to find out that Homeland Towers was working for 10 years in my neighborhood to plop something 200 feet away from my house. With no, like, Homeland Towers doesn't knock on doors, maybe say, hey, do you want a cell tower 200 feet from your house?
No, that's
200
why
feet
the
from your
public,
kid's
that's
swing
what the public
set?
hearing
That's the
is for.
purpose of the public hearing.
Yes, but I've also done my research on the one that's over at the Leaf site, okay, and how controversial that was.
That took 3 years, yes.
Okay, so I don't believe that, I don't believe this whole Homeland Towers, business, because they say the same thing everywhere they go.
What do you mean
It's
by
the
that?
only spot. We looked for 10 years. It's the only spot. We would like to see the other spots that they investigated.
Well,
That's-
the town board had reviewed all the sites that
well,
were
can you
available.
how do I get that from the town board?
We could present that at the public hearing.
Okay, I can't have that before.
I don't have it with me right now.
No, can I request it?
You could request, send me an email, and we'll make sure you have that information.
Okay, so I just want to make note that obviously this type of structure does not belong like here. It belongs further east towards the Sawmill Parkway. Just want to throw that out there.
Why is that? Why would you say it doesn't belong there? It belongs east?
Yes, towards the Sawmill Parkway.
On what,
I have.
what do you base that on?
Okay, I have a lot that I can base that on if you want me to go through it.
No, just briefly, if you could just tell me what research that you have that shows it should be east of that location.
Because the location of it is an egregious decision to make, to put something right there in the middle of Pecanico Hills with our one road going through there, defacing this historical property here,
Is
okay?
he facing?
Yes.
First of all, we've had many requests for a cell tower in that area because of the fact there is no communication on cell phones there. We look at it as a public safety issue, first of all. The police department, the fire department, all of them had expressed a desire to get the cell tower in that area. They've been talking about it for a long time. The school has been pushing it major because there's no communication there. God forbid, the way things are today, there's no communication with the kids or their parents.
When the school has been on lockdown, I get a text message, an email, a phone call, everything comes through just
Well,
fine
the
as
school,
is today.
like I say, the school is requesting this.
Okay, well, I have
just
organized
dream this
opposition
up.
to this. I have a petition. We have support from Historic Hudson Valley. We have support from the Friends of the Rockefeller Preserve. We have support from Rockefeller Family. So I would advise the board to really kind of consult with the actual people here and not just public safety, and have a concern for
Public
the actual...
safety to me is a major concern.
Yes, okay, but, again, to put a tower that can be 200 feet, okay? Right,
200 feet?
It's not 200.
200 feet tall, okay, it's
No,
not
it's not.
200, okay. All right, but what happened to the one at the Leaf site that was 156 and now it's 166? They can add to this thing whenever they want.
No, there was a reason for that because.
I've
of
done the research. I
a
know how they
carrier.
could just shoehorn these things wherever they want. Now, again, this is the town, it's up to the town. The town has the discretion on it. It's town property. And I did the
Yes.
research on the property itself. it is a bit of an odd piece of property to be carved out right there.
It happens to be town property. There's a number of pieces that the town owns in that area.
No, I know. I
This
looked back, I
piece
found the
particular
deed, I have the
work-
deed
This
here.
piece worked out
Okay, I have the deed to the
better.
property here. So this was taken over, this was a paper street for years and years, since 1888. There's a map
part of it
filed.
is Paper Street, yeah.
There was, no, the whole entire piece was a paper street from 1888. There's maps filed at Westchester County from 1888 showing this
Paper
Requa
Street
Road.
is alongside this piece of property, yes.
Okay, well, we're involving a paper street. Now, the town took over this property through tax lien foreclosures in 1982. I understand that's how the town got the property. So, and it's listed as a paper street in the deed. It says paper street, known as Requa Road. So,
It
Is
is
that-
alongside Requa Road, yes.
well, again, Requa Road is the paper street.
But
And-
the town didn't take a road through
Okay,
a
I don't wanna,
tax.
I'm not gonna argue back and forth, okay?
No, we're not.
But it's noted as a paper street in the deed.
Okay,
I can show that to you.
that's fine. I know the property.
Okay, so anyway, I've organized the opposition to it, and like I said, I have support from all the properties around, big properties, small properties, and also I've started the petition. On Sunday night, I shared this petition around, and we have 175 signatures so far, and we're gaining
I've
more and more
been
each day.
advised of that, yes. Thank you.
Okay. So we had the balloon test. Was anybody from the town board present at the balloon test this past Saturday? Okay.
And
So-
Danielle
There were
was
several members
Yeah.
there.
Okay, so I was at the balloon test. This picture here, if the town would like to see this picture here. Okay. That just happens to be my house and my children playing on their swing set, where this egregious tower is located here. Okay. Furthermore,
Where the crane was set up is not where the tower is gonna be. It's gonna be back into the woods farther. That, I'm just saying that they couldn't get the crane back.
I
where-
understand
okay,
that.
I just-
It's not that much further back
I
in the
know,
woods,
just
okay?
clarifying where the
Okay,
crane
let me
was.
clarify. I am a civil engineer. I understand the maps and plans and everything. I know where this thing is going, okay? And it's not good. Furthermore, we have a school bus route that goes around over here. Okay, we come down Bedford Road, we go to Dayton, we go to Highland, and we come right back up. We're just running kids around. There's kids outside, my kids, school bus stop. There's school bus stops all along right in front of this thing. This is, again, the only word I can describe this is egregious.
Like I said, there will be public hearings on this. You're welcome to voice your opinion. We'll welcome your petition and any comments you want to submit to the board, you're welcome to do so. But this is not going to be resolved, in the next
Correct,
couple of
but
weeks.
it worries me very much, Mr.
I understand that.
Okay?
And you have that
Because let
right.
me just read this article about the controversial Leaf Site Tower, okay? And ending this article, there was a man who leveled sharp criticism at the town board for its review of the project, telling town board members that they favored the tower before last week's hearing. And this man called the hearing a sham. And seeing this here worries me very much.
Where'd you read that?
This is from the Examiner. It's an article. You
So
just search cell tower Mount Pleasant, and these articles come up. Okay. And this has been going on for years. Here's 2012, another tower, 110 foot, that was proposed along Bear Ridge Road that was not built. Okay. So, but still, this process with Homeland Towers, if they don't want to build it further east, I suggest the town work with somebody else who would be willing to build the tower east, or the town can do something better with the property. I see there's a Veterans Memorial that's being put together. I could suggest using that property there for a memorial. A nice flagpole with a memorial to our veterans. That would be a much better idea than a potentially 200-foot, yes, 200-foot tower for cell phone service.
It's not 200 feet.
Understood, but it can be 200 feet.
Excuse me, no comments.
Yeah, it could, okay, so it starts at 120 and it can go up from there.
No,
I'm
it
just
won't.
saying.
That's it.
Well, how did the
That's
10
a
feet-
set- That's a set height.
But what
The other-
happened to adding 10 feet to this one?
We're not going to go back and forth on this. You're welcome to come to the public hearings. You voice your opinion, give
No,
us
but that's a
your
simple
details.
question. How did it-
Because we're done.
How did the rubber stamp go to the extra 10 feet?
Because there was a carrier with, I believe it was AT&T, has a new, there's a new communication system that required the 10 feet. It's a government access that was needed to give the proper coverage and all for that area.
Okay. So, well, here's just one more. When my kids wake up in the morning and they open the blinds, this is what they're gonna see. Yes, it's not the exact location, but it's still gonna be towering way over the trees, the existing trees. Okay, I can share this with everybody here. I wish the whole town could see this.
Yeah, you're welcome to share
What's
that.
happening here.
Thank you.
So-
Here's,
So there'll be more to come, but let me just end on this, okay? From this History of Pecanigo Hills by Gene Postridge. Let me just read one little excerpt from this book, The History of Pecanigo Hills. Bedford Road, from Dayton Avenue to Raffenberg Road. Okay? This section of Bedford Road passes through the heart of Pecanigo Hills and includes many of the most important historical buildings in the hamlet, such as the Union Church, the Church of the Magdalene, Pecanigo Hills School, and the firehouse. And this location in the heart of Pecanigo Hills is where this company wants to put a giant cell phone tower. The only word, again, is egregious.
Okay, thank you.
oh, here's your,
Anyone else like to address the board?
Well. You know how to sign in, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
There it is.
And then just
Right.
announce your name. Thank
You
you.
have a very nice smile. Thank you. My name is Susan Angst, and I live at 526 Bedford Road, a few doors down from Mike and my neighbor Gita. And there's about 11 children, including an infant, on this street where they want to put a cell phone tower like just 200 feet from us. It's egregious. I like the word, but I've done a lot of research since we found out from an outsider about the meeting you had Tuesday, and we were happy to have been here for that. But it's cuckoo-kidoo, man, because the head of the FCC was a former lobbyist for the cellular industry. And they're going to make millions and millions of dollars off of these towers that they're putting up all over the world very fast. And there are at least 6,000 studies worldwide that show there are health effects. But the FCC has figured out a way to say, whoops, sorry, you cannot fight these towers by citing studies. It's just, what? You know, when did the oligarchy begin? It's around 1996, after everybody got addicted to their cell phones. And since we've been a wired community, I'm old enough to remember, there was a time where 70,000, 60,000 people were not killing themselves or getting addicted to opiates. We have autism is on the rise. I worked with kids with autism in schools that were wired, and I watched the kids get more and more wired the more wired we became. And Alzheimer's is on the rise. I mean, on and on and on. We have to wonder, is there a correlation here? Some of the studies, I'm just going to read them. These are just things I printed off the internet. There's thousands of them. Oh, where to begin? Electromagnetic fields, a hazard to your health. American Academy of Pediatrics. In recent years, concern has increased about exposure to radio frequency electromagnetic radiation emitted from cell phones and phone station antennae. An Egyptian study confirmed concerns that living nearby mobile base stations increased the risk for developing headaches, memory problems, dizziness, depression, sleep problem. Studies have shown infertility rates decrease, our insects and butterfly populations are decreasing along with our bird populations. And these towers not only harm humans, but they harm our animals that we rely on to live a holistic, healthy life. Gita?
Thank you.
So hello, I'm Gita Linkevichude. I'm a neighbor of Michael and Susan. I also have children in the house. And I'm here to express my opposition to the location for the cell phone tower. I do agree that the cell service is needed, but I do not accept the location, the proposed location in front of our houses, because it's a historic neighborhood, historic hamlet. It's at the heart of the hamlet with so much open land around. Like, I don't understand why it cannot be more far from our houses. And I would like to invite the board to do good governance, like with the long-term view and insight and thinking holistically, and invite our landowners to the table to try to find a better location for that. I hope that I can trust that you will do the best you can in this.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address the board? We'll move on to our town clerk's report.
Town Clerk's Agenda, March 10th, 2020, Town Board Meeting. We received Supervisors and Registrar's Report for February 2020. Received Building Department Report, February 2020. Received Mount Pleasant Public Library Board Minutes for January 16th, 2020. 2 notices of claim, Gloria Cashagano versus Town of Mount Pleasant, and Lila Goldsmith versus Town of Mount Pleasant.
Item D would be referred to our town attorney. Moving on to our council reports, Councilman Schulman.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to present the Comptroller's Memo, Resolution 140-20, by department and vendor. Justice Court, Carl R. Anderson, Precise Translations, LLC, and Susan McPartlin, $8,770. Receiver of Taxes, Software Consulting Associates, Inc., $2,500. Assessment, Card Member Services, $600. Attorney, Bond, Schoeneck and King, PLLC, Harris Beach, PLLC, total $30,364.50. Building Town Hall, Apple Maintenance Services, Inc., National Standby Repair, Inc., National Standby Repair, Inc., $4,872.10. Central Copier, WB Mason Company, Inc., $1,316. Highway Garage, DTN LLC, $2,076. General Repairs, Amazon Capital SVC, $1,513. Highway Machinery, Westchester Tractor, Inc., $2,003.58. Highway Garage Roof Repair, FRM Mechanical, Inc., and JT Roselle Lighting and Supply, Inc., $22,615. Capital Old Farm Hill Water, Charles A. Manganero, $183,725. Kensico Capital Projects, Solar Technology, Inc., $35,364.75. Mount Pleasant Sewer District, All Makes Pump and Motor Repair, Inc., $16,877. Mechanical Water District Number 1, D Block Environmental Services, LLC, $15,050. Kensico Water, D Block Environmental Services, LLC, $15,050. Trust and Agency Escrow, Aquest Development Company, $17,020, for a grand total of $359,716.93. Move to approve, please.
Motion by Mr. Shulman,
Second.
second by Mr. Saliano. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The next is a Resolution 141-20, request authorization to reimburse 3 non-union management employees for the additional monies that they were required to pay during the period between November 8th, 2019 and February 14th, 2020. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Mr. Shulman,
Second.
second by Ms. Smalley. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Final resolution number 142-20, approval for standard work and reporting for elected officials. The standard workday and reporting resolution is required by the New York State Comptroller in accordance with the New York State Retirement System requirements. The town must establish standard workdays for certain appointed and elected officials based on a record of activities submitted by each official. The resolution will be posted in a public place, website, official signboard, main entrance to office of the clerk for a minimum of 30 days. A certified copy of the forms along with the affidavit of posting will be filed with the New York State Retirement System within 45 days of adoption. Move to approve, please.
Motion by Mr. Shulman,
Second.
second by Mr. Saliano. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Councilman Saliano.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My report is from the Police Department. We have one item for you for this evening, and it's authorization for a detective to attend School Resource Officer Advanced Training from April 6th through April 8th, 2020. We're sending one of our detectives for the School Resource Officer Advanced Training. The cost is $345, and again, the dates are April 6th through the 8th, 2020. I respectfully ask the board for a motion of approval for this training for our officer, please.
Motion by Mr. Saliano,
Second.
second by Mr. Shulman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I thank you. Have an excellent evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilwoman Smalley.
Thank you. My report is from Parks and Recreation. The first item is purchase order 70-20-21, LED replacement fixtures for the pool security lights. The contract to be effective 4/1/2020 to 3/21/2023, with an option to renew for 2 additional years. The vendor is Good Deal. Excuse me. Replacement fixtures, and the computer had the wrong vendor on it. Thank you. The vendor is Granger. The total cost is $1,843.13. These are for 3 Hubble LED replacement floodlight fixtures at $615.71 each. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Ms. Smalley,
Second.
second by Mr. Saliano. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The second item is authorization to enter into agreement with Good Deal Cleaning, LLC, for the cleaning of the Bradhurst Community Center. This purchase order is 70-20-22 and is requested by Steve Mott. Again, the vendor is Good Deal Cleaning. The description is $575 for 9 months from April to December of 2020. The total cost is $5,175. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Ms. Smalley,
Second.
second by Mr. Shulman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And the last item from Mr. Mott is authorization to solicit bids for a mesh cover for the Mount Pleasant Leisure Pool. This is memo number 16. Again, we would like to be able to request bids for this important piece of equipment for the pool. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Ms. Smalley,
Second?
second by Mr. Shulman. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. That's my report for this evening.
Thank you. Councilwoman Zano, unfortunately, is not feeling good.
So I will be glad to cover for my fellow councilwoman.
Thank you.
The first item, this is items from the Department of Highway. The first item is purchase order 50-20-06 for an asphalt roller. The vendor is Cap Rent Supply Company. One asphalt roller for the price of $16,187. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Ms. Smalley,
Second?
second by Mr. Shulman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item is requested by Richard Benquit, Superintendent of Highways, authorization to deposit bond for curb cut permit number 1472, so that the deposit has been forwarded to the Office of the Comptroller for the escrow account until the work being performed under the bond has been completed. The curb cut permit is, as I said, 1472 for a Mr. Paul Holzer at 705 Bellevue Avenue in Thornwood. The bond amount is $900. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Ms. Smalley,
Second.
second by Mr. Saliano. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And the last item is authorization to release the bond for street opening permit number 6398. The name was Robert Richter at 6 Wyeth Court in Pleasantville. The bond amount was $51,200. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Ms. Smalley,
Second?
second by Mr. Shulman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. That's the end of that report. Thank you.
Thank you. Town Attorney, I don't believe we have anything on the agenda this evening. Thank you. Moving on to our schedule of meetings, the next work session is Tuesday, March 17th at 7 p.m. The business session will be Tuesday, March 24th at 8 p.m. If there be no further business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Saliano,
Second.
second by Ms. Smalley. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you very
Good
much.
night.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.